It all began pretty innocently, with me deciding to visit my local nursery for seeds. It's a quirky little place that offers good service. I had my list, so all I had to do was look through their seed collection and go. But then I glanced at all the flowers outside and decided to just look around. I was having a pleasant roam through and even ran into the nursery mouser taking a lunch break. So all was good. And then something told me to keep walking toward the back of the nursery. And there was the sign that said, "Blueberries, blackberries, grapes, and figs." For some unknown reason, I was drawn to the blueberries. Pictures of blueberries danced in my head as I remembered watching a family pick them and how fun it seemed. I selected the biggest one I could find with the idea of taking cuttings and happily made my purchase. Back home, after I planted my seeds, I then sat down to do a little research on the care and feeding of blueberries. It was at this point that my head almost exploded. I realized I had purchased the drama queen of plants. Some people said they were easy to grow. Some said they were the devil's spawn. I learned there were high bush, low bush, and rabbit eye, and each had a little different requirement. The things that were consistent were they didn't like to dry out, but don't overwater. They like fairly acid soil and don't like growing alone. In fact, this bush has so many requirements that you can buy blueberry-specific soil fertilizer. It seems this bush goes against almost everything most backyard gardeners hope to achieve. I slowly backed away from the computer, thinking now was my chance to return the plant and call it a day. But I could hear that Cat Stevens song, "Looking for a Hard-Headed Woman," playing in my head, and figured I was up for a challenge. And so I did a little more research, decided what made sense to me, and began the pruning process to propagate cuttings. You bend the sections called canes to make sure they haven't hardened. Then cut at a 45-degree angle. I use growing compound on the ends and place them in soil along with a little azalea fertilizer, which is good for acid-loving plants. It seems the cuttings like a fairly humid environment, so I found a plastic bag to cover them and water to taste. The original bush went from this to this with only 3 sturdy-looking canes. I learned that I have the Brightwell variety, which is a rabbit eye, that is generally used commercially in my area and is self-pollinating. I plan to leave the original plant in the container until later to give it time to get settled in. And if only one of my cuttings takes root, then it won't have to grow up alone. I made note of the date I planted the cuttings because it should take about a month before I'd know how things went. So stay tuned to the Blueberry Hard-Headed Woman show, because I've come up with a lot of ideas to create the acid-loving environment blueberries need. See you next time.